Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is April 6th when I'm recording this, and remember, tomorrow, the day you're going to be seeing this, Friday, is Good Friday and the market is closed. So if you guys show up and the market's a little bit quiet, you might know why. Also, we over at Simpler Trading are going to be running a special. We're going to be hosting the Options Room Open House between April 18th and 20th. So those of you who sign up for free get access to the Options Room for those 3 days, and you get a sneak peek as to what actually goes on in the room. We'll all be there. We'll do our usual thing, and you guys kind of see how we operate inside of Simpler Trading. Here is the link that you can use to register, and we'll have that in the caption below in the description. All right, so let's get into this. We're looking at the SPY. Basically, I want to see what's been happening over the last few days since I've talked to you all. And if we look in through here, what we've kind of gotten is that the market was very, very overbought. We could definitely see that here on the daily chart because price is just very far off of the 8 EMA. We could also see prices come right up here into the double top area. And from there, I was expecting price to do some sort of pullback. And it got a little bit of a pullback here over, I think, about 2 days. And then today, Thursday, we basically did a double bottom, and now we're back up again. What this looks like is price has now closed that gap between price and the 8 EMA. And then it has come back down to the hourly 50. The Moxie indicator is very high. So for now, this looks like it is correcting its overbought condition with time by flagging, as opposed to with price by moving down to the moving average. So that's kind of what I'm seeing through there. And then if we look at the UVXY, this is another indicator sector that I like to look at as far as volatility to see what's going on. And a while ago, we could see that price was getting a little bit too far away from its hourly 50. And I thought, you know, something's going to happen to where the market's probably going to pull back. This is going to pop up, something to that extent. We got a little bit of it in through here. We had a couple day trades in the Moxie room looking at it. And then really what happened was price basically just flagged into the downtrending hourly 50. And so this was like one of those situations. Was this going to spike up when the market then dropped and pulled back? Or was it going to flag and fix that oversold condition for this? As it turns out, it flagged. Now, one thing I had been talking about to, well, even on Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, that I had been making note that the Moxie indicator was very far below zero, meaning that even if price shot up like this, it was not going to be a trend. It was just going to be a bounce and a downtrend for UVXY, which meant a dip in an uptrend for the SPY. So a viable dip for that. That has worked out so far. I would say that I'm not too worried about the UVXY popping up anytime soon, and the fact that it's now breaking to new lows is good. So this should generally be bullish for the market. Now remember, we do have non-farm payroll, and we also have unemployment coming out tomorrow on Friday when the market's closed. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice as to what's going to happen, since we can't actually be around to trade based on the news and based on how the market is reacting. The other thing is, as price was running into here, into the hourly 50, we can see that price then broke underneath and down through the 15-minute time frame. So that was confirmation of the move down, and that was then confirmation of the move up on the SPY. Now, another thing I was looking at, let me come over here to the daily and hourly. If we look at the Dow, it too had a very, very overbought situation. You can see there's that gap between price and moving average. You can see that same gap here. And so what we're trying to do is figure out, well, is price going to move down to fix that condition, or is it going to move sideways? And as you can see here, now that we've had a few days, it looks like it's going to be moving sideways. Now, if you're looking for an example to see how that might look, let me come over here. You can see one example basically here and here, where price moved sideways into the moving average in order to fix its overbought condition, versus right here where price moved down to do that. There's another one if we kind of move over here a little bit. This one looks really nice. And you can see here clearly price moved sideways into the moving average. That looks very similar to what we were experiencing now. So that's why I'm saying, hey, I think we've got some more upside. I think this is looking bullish. It is not even looking like it wants to pull back. It's looking like it wants to go sideways into those moving averages, which looks like it should be a continuation of price moving up. Now, the other thing, I've been talking about these longer time frame charts, monthly, weekly, because there have been a fair number of stocks that are moving up or coming up off of their floors, basically off the bottoms. And this is in one way something that I am seeing that is indicating that For now, a low is in for the market. Now, of course, I know we have recession data. I know we have all that kind of talk, hard landing, all that kind of stuff is out there. But for right now, maybe we're experiencing a bit of a lull in between things. As interest rates start topping out, they're starting to slow down their interest rate hikes versus bad economic data and recession. Maybe we're in this kind of middle ground to where things, if they're set up, they can start taking advantage of this kind of window in time. So all I can say is for now, these setups are working and certain things are moving. KC is one of them that I've been looking at. And what you can see, the commonality is that price here has come into an uptrending monthly 10 and it's working. And on the weekly time frame, you can see that price got over the weekly 50, pulled back to test the weekly 50, and you can see that the Moxie indicator has fired at the same time that price did that pullback. So that is perfect. That is a great timing situation on the weekly time frame. And then if we come over here, let's see, and we look at the daily and the hourly chart, what are some common things? Let me slide this over and through here. There we go. And so what we can see with KC on the daily chart is we can see that price pulled back underneath the daily 50, but the Moxie indicator is still above zero. So that's a trampoline move. When price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above zero, that's a trampoline move. That's a bullish situation. That's a buy the dip situation. And within that, you can see that there's a perfect double bottom right in through there. And then what you can see is there's the Moxie price trigger. In fact, on the hourly chart, there's the double bottom, there's the positive divergence, and there's the Moxie price trigger, and that set price up to just scream higher. So some really good Moxie setups with the Moxie rules help guiding you into something like this. So KC was another good one. And then let's see, KYMR. This is another one I'm looking at. Now, I'm bringing this one to your attention because it looks like it's setting up. It hasn't moved yet, and this is something that I've been seeing with a lot of stocks out there. They look like they're very much in position. They have all the right pieces of the puzzle built up and ready to go. They have the ingredients there. Now they just need to stick it in the oven and bake it and watch that thing rise. So we don't know when that is going to be. We don't know if it's going to actually work, but the setup is there. And so if we look at something like this, KYMR, we can see now price is pulling back into an uptrending monthly 10, very similar to what we saw with KC, right? And you can see here also price is over the weekly 50 and pulling back into the weekly 50, and the Moxie indicator is so close to crossing. As soon as this thing starts moving up, that'll probably fire and that'll show the right timing. And then if we come over here, KYMR, on the daily and hourly chart, very similar to what we saw with KC, a couple little differences. And if we look in through here, we have the 50 over the 200, and we do have price pulling back like this. Now, this is not an official trampoline move, but I've seen these things enough that I have a feeling this is probably going to end up holding, and we're going to start moving up. Now, of course, we need to prove and verify that, and one of the ways that I do that is I like to look over at the next lower time frame. And what do we see over here on the hourly chart? Well, notice we have price down. Notice that the Moxie indicator has been trending up, and right here, the Moxie indicator has fired, and price is holding the hourly 50 very, very nicely. So that's looking pretty good, and as long as that continues to build strength and move to the upside, I'd say this is another name that's looking pretty good on all time frames. All right, another one, if we look at FISV, and we look in through here, now this one, Fiserve didn't really get hammered. It did not get nearly hammered as much as everything else did. And you know what? That could say we have relative strength with it. And what I like about this is when it did pull back, found its equilibrium, found its low, it moved up, and then what did it do? Just like all these other names that I'm showing you, they are coming into support of the monthly 10 and holding and starting to move up. We're even seeing this on the SPY. Look at that. You can see it is looking exactly the same way. So as long as this stuff continues, I'm going to go with this direction. Now, of course, that might mean things roll over later. We'll have to see what kind of news comes out and how the economy does and whatever. But for right here and right now, these names are respecting these levels and these moving averages. And here on the weekly time frame, you can see basically there's an inverse head and shoulders right there. You can see the Moxie indicators up, and right there's your Moxie price trigger as price gets over the weekly 50 and starts to move up and engage with it. So it's another one that's looking good. Let's see what that looks like on the daily and hourly time frame. So right in through here, we can see there's the Moxie price trigger, and then you get a pullback. Now the pullback is into an uptrending daily 50. So good, that is in the right direction. Even though price is going down, it's going down against an uptrending moving average. That is what we want to see. And with price below the 50, but the Moxie indicator above 0, that is the energy and momentum of the Moxie indicator trying to tell you, like, look, I understand price is down, maybe it's flagging a little bit, but the Moxie indicator is still above 0. That's telling us that energy and momentum is still positive, and that actually price should eventually resolve upward. It's just a matter of when and how. And so that is the definition and idea behind a trampoline move. Then the other thing we can see is as this starts to confirm, price here is also starting to engage with the daily 50 and starting to move up. Everything was looking pretty good on that. On the hourly chart, what we can see in through here was price here starting to engage with the hourly 50. And you can see the Moxie indicator, even though it was a little sloppy and choppy, was also starting to work with it. So it kept moving up and up and up and just followed the hourly 50 until, I don't know, earnings or some sort of news and popped up. Now, yeah, that was a pretty big move. Got a little bit overbought. You can see way up here at the 30 ATR in a giant gap. And so what did it do? It actually pulled back to the daily 50. And if you ignore that little pop, what is this thing doing? It's really just right back on track to the direction it was going. So, you know, basically it's a return to normalcy and back on track, back on trend. So there was a little blip right there. And so if this continues, then this is price below the 50, the Moxie indicator above 0, very similar to this, price below the 50, the Moxie indicator above 0. And so if this continues, that's going to be another trampoline move. And what we can see is here is price trying to get back over the hourly 50, the Moxie indicator above 0. And at this point, we're just looking to see if this is going to continue up like this in a very similar fashion to these here. So hope you guys had a good time with that. And remember, we are running a little special with the free options room open house. So come check it out and use this link to register. It's going to be free. And then you guys can see what we're doing on the inside of Simpler Trading. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.